See the Dr. Joe difference at stlmedweightloss.com.
Good morning and happy hump day. Welcome to the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer. Frank Cusimano is enjoying his last day off, visiting some family down in Florida. Mark Maxwell from Five on Your Side joining us today. Connor McCarthy here as well. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm good. It's so good to be back. Got to give Frank a breather here. But confession for you, this is my first day back in front of a microphone, camera, anything in more than a week. At the end of the year, you just got to finally get those vacation days out of your system. And so Frank's got one today. I'm kind of tipping my toe back in the media waters with a radio show this morning, returning to TV tonight. I don't know. I didn't know it was Wednesday until you said it just now. I've completely lost my bearings.
Good. Yes. Well, you and Frank both work a little too much. That's why you have all these stacked up days at the end of the year. You workaholics. But I've told him many times, and I've told you this morning too, I do not approve of people letting vacation days go. They are to be used. You're needed for mental and physical health. You got to take those breaks.
It's use them or lose them. There's no rollover minutes. They're strict upstairs in the HR department.
And I think it's a good thing for you to do. And so thank you for choosing to come back from your enjoyable 5 days off to be with us here today. You know, I was thinking about you. We drove to Michigan in October for a quick weekend getaway up in Muskegon. And I looked up and saw the sign and I said, I'm in Hammond, Indiana. That is the home of my friend Mark Maxwell. And then I was reading about the movie A Christmas Story as we're starting to watch. And it's a fictional name. They call it like Hamlish or something like that.
But the house
Indiana.
is based there in Hammond.
But they said that the story that A Christmas Story is based on, the short story that was based on, the author based it on the town of Hammond, Indiana.
Yeah.
Is there anything familiar about that when you watch that movie? Do you say, yeah, that could have happened in my hometown? It's before your time.
It is before my time, but the neighborhood I grew up in, it still sort of had, like I threw papers as a kid. Mm-hmm. And the paper route that I had, it was a whole bunch of single-story homes that were basically the greatest generation came back and built. It was a steel yard town for a long time, cookie-cutter front lawns. They all kind of looked the same. That was it. So in that regard, the neighborhood feel is sort of similar. And the snowball fights. Always remember those.
Were you, are you young enough or old enough, depending on what your perspective is, that when you said you tossed papers, did you walk and toss it out of your bag or was it out of the car?
So my sister got the car treatment.
Okay.
I got to lug two big bags. If I was feeling strong on a Wednesday morning, I could put two big bags, one over each shoulder. But if the paper was really big on a Sunday, I might have to take a couple trips, go back home, reload, go back out again. But it just depended on how big the paper was, how thick it was that day.
Yeah, we still have my dad's from his paper route in the early 1950s. We still have his paper bag route from carrying his bag that he carried the Des Moines Register in from back in the days. He said it was one of the best things he ever did in terms of creating a work ethic and endurance, and there was just no. You just had so much accountability as a young person. You just couldn't say, I'm tired or I don't feel like doing this today. You had to deliver the paper. People did not like it when your paper doesn't get delivered.
And it was a great way to keep track of big events. I remember when Michael Jordan won his 6th Bulls championship, or when Wayne Gretzky or John Elway retired, or when Walter Payton died. All these things were big sports moments in my childhood, and I kept the front page of that sports paper. And they're probably somewhere in my mom's garage. But you would keep those big clippings as memories of big milestones when something big happened, because the front pages and the front page writers were all so great.
Anybody else got any memories out there on your years, either as a newspaper delivery person, or was it part of your life? Royal Banks of Missouri text line 84126. Connor, did you have any contemporaries who had a paper route, or was that kind of a different animal by the time people were getting?
No, I never knew anyone that actually had the paper route.
Yeah.
What's a paper?
Yeah,
and what paper did you deliver?
It was the Hammond Times before it was the Northwest Indiana or the Northwest Times of Indiana or something. It changed. But when I was 12, so I threw papers from 8 to 12. When I turned 12, they phased us out because we were underage, and I guess child labor is frowned upon in some parts of the country. But I think there was liability. There was all kinds of concerns. And it was such a great program because they were giving us a chance to earn scholarship money to college. I think I got like $1,000 or $2,000 toward my college tuition because of this pay, in addition to all the money that I earned and saved. It was a great way to kind of get plugged into your community, and you'd go collect the money every week or two and get to meet some of the World War II vets that lived in your neighborhood. It was a great way to kind of get to know your neighbors.
Yeah, my brother had a paper route. My older sister and I, we violated child labor laws by starting to babysit when we were probably 11 or 12 years old. He had his paper route. My younger sister said, you babysitters were dumb, getting $1 an hour or $1.50 an hour. When you add up, you make a lot more money on the paper route. So, but she said, I'm not going to do the morning paper. I want the afternoon paper. So she delivered the local paper in the afternoons.
I got to find this Twitter account somewhere, but it has something about yesterday's headlines, and it has a lot of throwbacks. In the St. Louis Post-Dispatch from the 1920s and 30s and some of the old St. Louis papers, they show up in these headline posts a lot. So some of the writing was just pure comedy gold.
Yeah,
they'd find some little social scandal or some little thing happening that nobody would, and the way they would write back then was so pure and original.
We're going to look up some of those and have them for you a little bit later on in the show. But first, we have to take our first break. Stick around. Mark Maxwell, Jill Farmer here in the Frank and Jill Show. We'll be right back after this.
Watch your favorite team, eat your favorite food. It's the Village Bar. You've heard about the world-famous cheeseburger. Stop by and check it out. Even better, bring your friends on your way to the game, after the game, or just watching the game. Food, sports, and a cold beer. We'll see you at the Village Bar.
Have you seen all the 5-star reviews Michael's Baths has gotten on Google? How about their A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau? Everyone, including the nanny, raves about Michael's friendly office staff and their experienced installation team. With over 30 years of experience, all they do is bathrooms. They're not trying to be the biggest. They just want to be the best. Right now, get a free shower door or $500 off your bathroom remodel. Call Michael's Baths, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Call the closer with Lauren Risley Realty.
First day on the market, we had multiple offers. They were definitely on top of things, but we loved working with them. They made it so easy for us.
All you need to know about real estate and more.
I am Lauren Risley. I'm here with my right-hand man, Adam Bundren. You'll be hearing from us a full 1-hour show on all things real estate.
Call the closer with Lauren Risley Realty, powered by Homestead Financial Mortgage on the Big 550 KTRS.
Call the closer at a special time this Saturday at 2 p.m. on the Big 550.
Okay, so the tree is up, but it's tilting towards the side door. All right, look, you got to get it straight. Go to Schnarr's Hardware, Clayton Road in Ladue or in Webster on Lockwood. Schnarr's Hardware has 2 locations, and they have everything for the holidays, whether it's extra extension cords, maybe a couple of extra lights, last-minute gift. Oh, Aunt Sally's coming. She's bringing you a gift. I got to get something. Schnarr's Hardware will help you out. You need to put the lawn to bed? Yeah, Schnarr's Hardware has all sorts of winterized fertilizers to help you get through these winter months. You see, at Schnarr's Hardware, it's more than just a friendly neighborhood hardware store. It's a part of Americana, and it has brought St. Louisans together for years. So when you walk into Schnarr's Hardware, you'll notice the customer service is great, the smell is great, the popcorn is free. Schnarr's Hardware. Happy holidays from Schnarr's Hardware. Make sure your holiday is complete with a trip to Schnarr's Hardware. Schnarr's Hardware, Merry Christmas.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've got some important news from our friends at Dalco Home Remodeling. You know they're locally owned and family operated. More importantly, they've been installing the very best windows and doors in town for the past 50 years. That great offer that they have on windows at Dalco has now been extended through the end of the month, so you can still earn a $600 tax credit on new windows. Plus, Dalco has upped the ante to an additional $260 credit per window for up to 10 of their Elite Series windows with 0% financing for up to 18 months. That's up to $3,200 in credits. The Energy Star tax credit offer is ending forever and will not return. So you've got to act fast. This incredible offer ends through the end of the month. So you call today, 314-298-7300 to get up to $3,200 in credits for up to 10 new energy-efficient windows. Or go online, DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. If you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved with Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call 314-298-7300. See store for details.
And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS.
Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
So glad you're with us on this Wednesday morning. Hopefully easy travels for you today. The weather's going to warm up. We're going to get a little bit of a melt and then a refreeze for tomorrow. Jill Farmer, Mark Maxwell from 5 on Your Side filling in for Frank today. Frank back from Florida tomorrow. He picked an incredibly good few days to get out of town. His timing was impeccable and well-deserved. So Mark Dorsey here at the station pointed out something I'd missed on CNN fairly recently that I thought was super interesting. And it was a story that talks about the fact that U.S. travelers lose millions of suitcases every year. And where those suitcases end up was very surprising. Have you ever had the experience, Mark, where you lost a suitcase or anything important in your luggage?
For a few days. Fortunately, they eventually somehow found it. I don't know if it was floating around the bottom of the conveyor belt, and behind the little conveyor there where the little, I don't know where they found it, but a few days later I came back with the claim ticket and thank God they had it. But I've never lost one permanently. I've had friends that have. That's got to be miserable. Where do they end up? The South Pole?
No, they end up, believe it or not, in a store in Alabama. So
what?
If you want to go shopping in Scottsboro, Alabama.
Finders keepers.
Finders keepers. There are racks and racks and racks. I mean, it looks like a giant warehouse, and it is 50,000 square feet of clothes,
from
shoes,
every airline,
books, electronics. The inventories from lost suitcases, they stretch as far as the eye can be. They sell the bags to Unclaimed Baggage, which is the name of the company, and then you can go to the warehouse. It's and buy. I mean,
so the airline will find a way to profit on you no matter what. You lose your bags, we're going to turn a profit.
Sunglasses, tennis shoes, some of them with tags on. Costumes from. They have a few things that they just keep on display, and then of course the rows and rows and rows of suitcases as well. I had only experience we've ever had where we lost a suitcase for good is we had a black carry-on bag flying to Denver years and years ago when my parents lived there, and we got there and somebody had taken. We grabbed a bag, got out, got home, and realized this isn't our bag. Somebody else had clearly taken our bag. It was the only one that was there when my husband grabbed it. We took ours immediately back to the airport. And there wasn't very much good stuff in it. Ours was never returned to the airport. So they decided they got a better end of that deal, so we never did get it back. And then this summer on
it's like a swap, a Christmas gift swap.
Right, on our big delayed anniversary trip, the cruise we took to the Mediterranean, I had a tag in my luggage, and we landed in Barcelona, and I said, my bag is still in St. Louis. And John said, no, I think that's wrong. But I will say the airlines and the cruise ship worked hard, and on day 4 of the cruise, it caught up with me on the island of Sardinia. I got my suitcase back, and I literally got on my knees and hugged it. I was very glad to have it.
I don't know. It sounds to me like best of both worlds because you got an excuse to go shopping for 3 days.
Yeah, I didn't want to though because I had packed all the great stuff, so I just kind of went to an H&M in Barcelona to buy, some underwear and a swimming suit, and then just kind of kept rewashing my clothes until I got my suitcase. But it worked out just fine. It really did. What do you have?
Well, who would have known? Okay, well, let's start with a little on this day. In 1818, December 3rd, 207 years ago, Illinois is born. Admitted to the Union. She's 207 years young. Happy birthday, Illinois. I don't know what our listeners think their favorite things about Illinois are. You can text us at 84126. Most corrupt state, maybe? You could say.
When it comes to politics, right?
In politics. Home of Superman. Home of the Chicago-style hot dog. Home of Chicago Bears. The number 1 seeded team in the NFC right now, I will say. So there's a lot of things to really appreciate about Illinois.
You've spent much of your life Illinois adjacent. You were right next to it in Hammond, Indiana, and then right next to Illinois.
Lived in the Chicago suburbs my entire life until I moved to Springfield, Illinois in 2017. Until I moved to St. Louis, I was and even now, still right on the border of Illinois. So always around Illinois. 207 years. I was at the bicentennial birthday party when former Governor Bruce Rauner was celebrating at Navy Pier for the 200th birthday of Illinois, and they had all these Lincoln impersonators. They had the Chuck Swirsky, what were the super fans from SNL, the Bears.
Yep.
They had those guys there doing kind of a comedy sketch routine. It was great. But Illinois turns 207 today, so if you or your loved ones are venturing over across the river, wish the state a happy birthday.
Yeah, very good. Should you feed a cold and starve a fever. My grandmother used to repeat that every single time.
What's the line again?
It's feed a cold and starve a fever. Royal Banks, Missouri text line 84126. Did anybody in your life or your family used to say that as well? So the idea was if you had a cold, you should eat more and, nutritious food. But when you have a fever, you shouldn't eat because it somehow gave the body the ability to fight off the fever when it didn't have to worry about digestion. So New York Times in their health section asked the question, is this true or is it a wives' tale? I'll sum it up for you. It's a wives' tale. There's really no infectious disease expert that they could talk to in the country said we can't come up with any really good reason why anybody should choose to either eat more because you have a certain kind of either bacterial or viral infection, or eat less when you don't. It's more just driven by sometimes if you have something like influenza or something where you're likely to have a fever, you may not have an appetite, but there is no.
I was going to say, when I'm sick, I don't want to eat.
Yeah, it's an old wives' tale, but it's one of those ones that has kind of stuck around for a long time. So now you know. It's despite the fact that it's something our grandmas or moms or other people said for a long time, not actually true. Eat what you can get down and try to make it nutritious and rehydrating. That's the important thing on both, whether you have a fever or a cold.
My glass of water thanks you for that news you can use. News Talk Radio you can use. We're going to stick with the On This Day theme for the second part of Dialogue, and we're going to go back to 1967. On this day, the first human heart transplant. A few years prior, there had been a heart transplant on a dog, a successful one, but the first human heart transplant, and it was just that many years ago, 50, 60 years ago or so. It makes you think about just how far we've come in medicine and what's possible, what has become possible with all these experiments and everything. But yeah, it was a 53-year-old. That's the good news. It was a successful heart transplant. The bad news, he only held on for like 18 days. I'm not sure what the return on investment was there. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty remarkable that just that many years ago, the first time there was ever a human heart transplant, and now all the lives that have been saved ever since, pretty wild to think about.
Yeah, do you know anybody who has who has had a heart transplant or an organ transplant in general?
Yeah, we've got people, I know people that have had successful organ transplants, and, man, I mean, you talk about good people. The person that wants to give one of their kidneys or give an organ to help keep someone else alive. I always love those stories when you see the two people meet or unite. And a lot of times they try to keep the privacy protected there, but it's really cool to see someone who helps someone else stay alive. And sometimes it's a family member. They have to have a match, right? So they have to go through this whole process. And it can be quite arcane and difficult to get that match done. But yeah, just to think that the body can receive something. And what's that part of the body that will sometimes reject? That's wild
your
to
immune
me.
system. I was a health reporter in the early years of my career, and I actually got to go to Chicago and observe one of the first heart transplants in the United States, because that was the biggie, right? They were transplanting other organs but couldn't quite get into the heart transplant, and it was an incredible experience because they had to develop a pump essentially that could do the work of the heart for us. Somebody on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line wants to know what town in Alabama. Are you going to do a road trip to find out where you can get all that lost luggage, or maybe you're missing a piece, your favorite Patagonia sweatshirt from back in the day? It's Scottsboro, Alabama is the name. Final thought for me today is a book recommendation. I hadn't read an Agatha Christie mystery in a minute. I got on a little bit of a kick after there's been a couple of movies made, Murder on the Nile and Orient Express in the last couple of years, modern renditions of an Agatha Christie mystery. And so I hadn't read any. I picked up a couple in that era when I watched those movies. But I just finished one called Hercule Poirot's Christmas, and that's the name of a character that is in a lot of Agatha Christie's mysteries. It's a sharp, really good, satisfying holiday mystery. All of Agatha Christie's trademark twists all takes place around the Christmas holiday. Powered by Hercule Poirot himself, the impeccably precise Belgian detective. He relies on his little gray cells in his brain to see what everyone else overlooks. She wrote 33 novels, more than 50 short stories. 50 of those short stories featured Poirot. This one is cozy, clever, a fun standout for December. Again, Hercule, it looks like Hercule is, if you're not pronouncing it according to the way you're supposed to in French, Poirot's Christmas. It's really fun.
I was just admiring the way you were enunciating those words.
Well, I tried to. I did. It was just a fun. I hadn't read a Christmas-based murder mystery before, probably in my life, and I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the great thing about reading a French word or a foreign word is if you pronounce it wrong in your head, nobody cares.
Right, exactly.
You can pronounce it however
I did
you
look
want.
up the correct pronunciation before I said it on the radio, because we do have some people who do speak some foreign languages that will call us out.
So our third thing, on this day in 1992, we're getting a little closer to our era in the timeline. The first text message was sent, the first SMS text message in history. It was a 22-year-old engineer who was sending the word. Can you guess the first text message that was ever sent?
No, I cannot.
Merry Christmas.
Oh.
It was a work party, a holiday party, and they were working on this thing for like a year, and the guy finally sends the message through to his boss, and the thing he thought to say was, Merry Christmas.
Phone to phone. Now, you guys, Connor, and you guys are enough younger than me that did you start texting on flip phones?
Oh, yeah.
And so you were good at you have to hit, the number 4 times.
Yeah, you got to type in with the number pad. Yeah, I had to do that for a while.
And this was back when they would charge you 25 cents per text.
Yeah, I only got like 100 texts a month. So I wasn't, I had to be sparing with the text when I was a kid.
It was, are you text worthy? Do your friends needed to be text worthy? Is that was I didn't get into it until I think I got my first iPhone, and I was late to the game on that. And I remember my daughters just being like, Mom, you're sending whole sentences, right? Because they were back in you have to be more sparing with both your words and the characters because
like
they're
the
charging
telegram.
them. Yeah, and I'm like, by the time I started texting,
signing your text though.
Oh yes, using using capital letters and punctuation and things.
I'm all for the grammar and the punctuation, but if your text bubble takes up the entire screen plus some, it's too long.
Okay.
Condense it.
I think it's the signing of the texts. I obviously know who I'm texting.
Does your mom?
She does not. She does not.
Dear Connor.
I don't think I sign them now unless it's somebody that I'm not sure has my number. And
at the end, Jill. It's like, well, yeah, I know it's you. I put your phone number
Hi, it's Jill
in.
Farmer, and then I sign it Jill again, just so you know,
comma.
because it's so long. As Mark Maxwell just pointed out, I'm also old enough that I'm probably sending way too long of text. Or now the kids just make fun of our text voice because both John and I, when we send a text, we're usually doing voice to text, and so we do it in a robot voice.
What about the voice memo?
Yeah, I do voice memos. I actually, in my coaching practice where I work with people on time and stress management, and since nobody actually listens to, you can't leave people voicemails anymore, but you can leave voice memos if it's easier to tell somebody something than it is to type it out. And I do encourage people. It can be a time saver.
Do people not listen to voicemails anymore?
A lot of times they miss them, so you call.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? People won't listen to a voicemail, but a voice memo, those are exciting. And you know what? I'm a big proponent. Have you ever gotten in trouble in a relationship or at work or somewhere because someone misread the tone of your text?
Yep. That's exactly the reason I like it, and it can take a long time to try to correct your grammar or whatever when you're doing a voice to text, and when you leave a voice memo, it's just a more efficient way to get a more complex idea.
Writing things that get someone's attention and writing things that captivate the imagination and hit the right tone. It's such an art form.
Yep.
I think our next guest is really good at this.
Yes, she is, Sarah Spensky. We're going to talk to her in just a minute, but first, one of the things I was talking to some family members over the Thanksgiving holiday and being back as we were gathering for my mom's funeral. And one of them was telling a nightmare story about going to another relative on my husband's side of the family, unfortunately, that had a wedding that was in a foreign country. They had used just the internet to book this resort that was going to be perfect and ideal. And the pictures on the internet were amazing. And they got there, and guess what? It was still under construction. And none of the things that had been promised on the internet actually happened. It was something that everybody is able to laugh about now, everybody who attended that, but it wasn't great. And that's one of the things I was thinking about as my youngest daughter's getting ready to get married in May and planning her honeymoon. And that's why I said, you got to call Altair Travel and Cruises to plan this honeymoon. Because guess what? They're not going to just take things that are on the internet and say, I think it's going to be great. They want to send you as their client to places that they understand. They know the ownership group. They know what kind of guarantees they have for travel. They know what kind of amenities exist. They know the difference between somebody that a resort that's owned by somebody on the other side of the earth versus something that has had a tried and true reputation and that St. Louisans have traveled to multiple times and had incredible experiences. And that's what you get when you are signing up at Altair Travel and Cruises. Traveled experience, people who have been doing this for a very long time, who do their due diligence, who do their research, who make sure that they stick with you the entire time you're on your trip so they can help solve problems for you in St. Louis so you don't have to try to do it when you're supposed to be relaxing on your trip. 314-968-9600, altairtravel.com.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. We offer the largest selection of Amish-made furniture in the St. Louis area, plus quality living room furniture from Flex Steel and Smith Brothers. We carry top-quality mattresses from world-famous brands like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Chatham & Wells. Shop our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms. At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T. Basement T. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The All Things Basement T experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry up that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
Let's talk about a getaway where you're not spending all the time on the road. How about Innsbruck? Think about it. You could go from your desk to a canoe and do some fishing in about 25, 30 minutes. They've got A-frames, they got tree houses, or if you're looking for a place to live that's away from hustle and bustle, custom homes and condos as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. Have you been out? Have you looked? Go to Innsbruck-resort.com to find your getaway.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer. This note came in on our text line recently on the Frank and Jill show. You need to know that Ryan Raphael helped me with my senior insurance plan. He was such a gentleman, so helpful, knowledgeable, and kind. I can't thank him enough, and I heard about him on KTRS. I love that text because Ryan Raphael is the Medicare man. He's absolutely the best person to call to help you through the often confusing process of finding the right Medicare plan for you. He loves helping people, walking them through the overwhelm of, I don't know how to choose the best plan for me, or I did choose a plan based on the recommendation of a well-meaning friend or family member, and now I don't think it's actually the right one for me. Ryan Raphael is the best at matching you with a plan that lets you keep your own physicians and keep your prescriptions. It's like having the highest quality consultant on your team. The best news, it's free to you. Under the law, his fees are paid by the insurance companies. Go to MedicareManSTL.com or call 314-368-6808. That's Ryan Raphael's cell phone number just for you.
From the same guys who brought you the watering bowl, say hello to the number 2 crew. The number 2 crew will visit your yard once a week in St. Louis City, St. Louis County, or St. Charles County, and they'll take care of your dog's business. Think of the number 2 crew as your yard's best friend. 314-717-8880 or the number2crew.com. The number 2 crew reporting for duty each and every week in your backyard. The number 2 crew or the number2crew.com.
Between all the holiday parties,
weekend tailgates,
and family get-togethers. Oh, they're here. Hey, who needs something to drink?
we've been overindulging a little more than usual. Thank goodness we both added active liver to our diets to give our livers some much-needed support so we have the energy we need to enjoy the holidays.
Active Liver from New Nordic contains a powerful blend of turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract designed to give your liver maximum protection and help it do vital jobs like removing toxins from alcohol, rich foods, and sweets.
Try Active Liver today and enjoy all the holiday treats with the peace of mind of knowing you're giving your liver some relief.
Find Active Liver online at Amazon, Vitacost.com, or iHerb.com. Or pick it up today at CVS, Meijer Grocery, or ShopRite. Enjoy life to the fullest with Active Liver.
Time check, 10:36. You're listening to the Frank and Jill Show on KTRS, the Big 550, the talk of St. Louis. Jill Farmer, Mark Maxwell from Five on Your Side sitting in for Frank today. Connor McCarthy here as well. Great show lined up for you. Got Sarah Fensky in just a minute. A little bit later, Tariq Khan, our Academy Award expert, loves to rewatch classic movies. Sound of Music, 60 years old. We have some fun facts you may not have heard about the movie coming up a little bit later in the show. And then Glenn Zimmerman, my good friend from Fox 2, talks about what went wrong with some of the Weather Service and MoDOT and the predictions that seem to have gone awry that created some big issues for a lot of travelers on Monday afternoon. We'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But first, Sarah Fensky, I know you're not the biggest cold weather snow person. How you doing since we have had a little winter?
Jill, I can't handle this.
Aren't you from Cleveland? Isn't that it? Did I have that right? Didn't you grow up around this?
I left Cleveland for a reason. Like, I don't know what I was thinking moving back to the Midwest. Every December, I am ready to jump off a cliff, and I am right back there this week.
Well, I'm sorry. I do. My heart goes out to you, but we really can't control the weather, so you're going to have to make some peace with that, I think.
Maybe this is just a coping mechanism, Sarah, but to me, you don't get to enjoy the beauty of summer until you've really felt just the dead of winter. I mean, when you feel this way, and then you go down to sunny Florida or sunny California or somewhere, it just, you feel so much more alive. You know, you have the full 4 seasons effect. I think that's one of the balance of life.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think, when I was living in Phoenix, I really liked the heat. Like, I hear people say, oh, how did you deal with it when it was 110? I loved it when it was 110. But there was a point where I kind of got tired of it being sunny all the time. And it was nice to sort of escape to a cloudy day. And so I have to remind myself of that. I wish that, these days didn't go on for months. If I could have like a week of snow that would make me appreciate good weather the rest of the year, that would be ideal.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I feel like we just have the perfect amount of snow here, just enough to kind of make it feel a little wintry, but we only shovel usually a couple times a year in St. Louis. I think we have a pretty easy winter, but I am a Four Seasons girl, and I'm not that great in the heat, so I'm probably the wrong person to ask about this. Hey, you guys doing some really interesting reporting for St. Louis Magazine. Of course, Sarah, executive editor of St. Louis Magazine, editor of the fabulous St. Louis Daily newsletter that comes into our email at 6 o'clock every morning. The feds are now backing Bayer in the Roundup litigation, which of course is over this weed killer that has been in the news so often for the last several years. Update us on what the latest is there.
Yeah, so this is such a St. Louis story, even though it involves this multinational corporation and the federal government. This guy, D. John Sauer, who was Missouri's Solicitor General, he's a St. Louis guy. He's now the Solicitor General for Donald Trump's administration. And yesterday, on behalf of the Trump administration, they filed a brief with the Supreme Court taking Bayer's side in the thousands of lawsuits that Bayer is dealing with. There's one particular case that Bayer is trying to overturn. It's a St. Louis City case where the guy only got $1.25 million. You wonder if maybe this was not the strongest of the cases against this Roundup product. And Bayer wants to use this case to basically get the Supreme Court to say, hey, people can't sue in state court over this stuff. The EPA has signed off on saying Roundup is safe. It's time to stop all 67,000 of these lawsuits against Roundup. So this could be a really important thing for Bayer if they can manage to use the feds weighing in as a way to get the Supreme Court onto their side and potentially shut down what has become a major headache, multi-billion-dollar boondoggle for this company.
And as a guy who's listened to way too many arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court, I can tell you that John Sauer has a future in radio. If he ever wants to. That guy's got a great growly voice. It's one of those voices that really sticks with you. That's just a aside for anybody wondering about.
He's apparently genius. He's this Rhodes Scholar. He's a Harvard law guy. In St. Louis, he has the great bona fide of being a Priory grad. But he's apparently really good at what he does and knows how to shape an argument that will get a majority of justices on board. Now, he hasn't always been able to do that. He's lost a few at the Supreme Court as well, but this is helpful for Bayer to have him in their corner.
Now, Sarah, I'd love to know what you think about what gets you to click on an article. If it's coming across your timeline, because for me, a lot of things can get me to click once. But you know what can get me to click twice? and then over and over again is a good lead sentence. If I click into an article and that good lead sentence or that kicker sentence at the end really just feels like, oh, you know what? I love the way that was written. That was crafty. That was clever. Then I'm going to come back to that same place over and over. And you guys at the St. Louis Magazine have this penchant for a really good lead sentence. I'm going to read you one from just the other day. Hell hath no fury like a legislator snowed in for hours on his commute. Now,
thank you.
Be honest. I know Ryan wrote that one, but be honest. How many different? How are you workshopping these lead sentences? Give us a little bit of a trick, but give us a look behind the curtain.
Well, in this one, I'll tell you, I said to Ryan, Ryan, where's your copy? I needed this story an hour ago. And Ryan goes, oh, it's almost done. And sends it over. And I go, Ryan, this looks great. I'm going to clean up a couple typos and hit publish. So, I hire good writers. And then I like to let them run. And I was always so frustrated when I was a young journalist and editors would cut out my interesting sentences and try to dumb everything down and make it sound like a boring daily newspaper. And, at St. Louis Magazine, we like to hire people who know how to write, put a lot of thought into their sentences, and then we don't change those sentences. It's a very simple editing technique.
Okay, nice. So now we've talked about how we make the sausage, but the story I think behind that was pretty interesting, and that's that MoDOT is facing some bipartisan wrath for the winter storm response. Does MoDOT deserve all of that wrath, or was it just bad luck with bad weather? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think they did make the wrong call here. They should have pre-treated the snow. They paid attention to early warnings from the National Weather Service, didn't really realize when things had shifted. Now they are taking their lumps for that. But I think where Ryan's story is interesting, as opposed to a lot of the reporting I've seen on this, he drilled down into some of the bigger issues, which is MoDOT is incredibly poorly funded compared to departments of transportation in other states. They're like third from the bottom in terms of the per capita funding here. They've also been fighting a court fight for the past 3 years where they've had to fight the Office of Administration, which is appointed by the governor, just to have the right to be able to use their allocated budget on what they want to use it on, which was to give raises for some of these workers. The snowplow drivers historically have been so badly paid, the people who work there qualify for SNAP, like they can get food benefits for their family. So they fought for years to try to fight to say, hey, if the legislature gives us this money, we want to be able to use it for raises. They finally won that battle. And so as much as they did mess up on Monday, and it's very clear that they did, there's some people saying, hey, wait a minute here. Like, this was a one-time screw-up. They've got these other factors that make it very hard for them to competently do their jobs, and maybe we should cut them some slack.
I think the public would have more sympathy for the department if this had happened in August or in September, if a snowstorm had really caught them by surprise. But is anyone really? We knew it was coming at some point in the day. I think that speed and flexibility to get out and be quick, that the quick response is what the public sort of expects. On the other hand, it is kind of funny to me, Sarah, how we ascribe extra meaning to the Simpsons meme of old man yells at cloud if the old man happens to be an elected official who can do something about it. When those politicians...
Well, there is extra meaning. I mean, let's face it, Nick Schroer, who is now coming after MoDOT, he's made clear, and he discusses in Ryan's story the specific ways he wants to come after MoDOT. He does have the power to make their life miserable. Whether he'll actually have the follow-through, I'm a little skeptical. I think he's the old man who likes to yell on Facebook, which is, the modern equivalent of the cloud. But it certainly worked for him yesterday. His post went super viral because so many people were mad at MoDOT.
Before we let you go, I did also thought it was interesting. I hadn't seen this reported on much else anywhere else. The situation of the person, Sarah Unsaker, who was expelled from the Missouri Democratic Party. Fill us in on that story.
Yeah, it was sort of interesting to follow up on this story. Ryan stumbled on this lawsuit, and in this story, she accuses an unnamed reporter at an unnamed defunct alt weekly of defaming her. I'm here to out myself. I was apparently that reporter. I reported accurately on her own social media posts where she boasted about drinking lemonade with this alt-right provocateur who has, in the past, denied the Holocaust. And so reporting on that apparently makes me part of this grand conspiracy that denied her the right to caucus as a Democrat. And now it's all part of some bizarre conspiracy that has something to do with her child custody case.
The consequences of our own actions.
Yeah. So I'm here to say in my defense, I did not collude with any judges in the St. Louis County Circuit Court. I just want to make that clear to all your listeners.
That would be a scoop.
Yeah, that would be a scoop and something to give us. We'd be able to talk about that for weeks to come. As always, Sarah, love our conversations. Of course, Sarah Venske, check out the great work that she does as executive editor of St. Louis Magazine. If you haven't signed up yet, it's free. Go on to the St. Louis Magazine website and sign up for the St. Louis Daily newsletter. Always doing some great reporting on there as well. Stay warm and have a great rest of your day, Sarah.
Thank you.
Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist, Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group, is somebody else that we turn to for information whenever there's breaking news in the world of things like the stock market or understanding how things like tariffs are going to impact our bottom line as people who are trying to save for retirement and look towards a comfortable life in that season of our lives. Jeff also is so good, of course, at tax strategy. He says, just unequivocally every single time, the tax strategy is one of the things that people are most likely to ignore when they're thinking about planning for retirement and planning to have enough money to live in those post-work years. And it's actually the most important thing to focus on, because a lot of us, it turns out, are missing out on opportunities to be able, because we actually pay more money than we're supposed to the federal government. And when we do that, that's money that is not earning interest for us or making money in the stock market, which has been doing quite well in 2025. So how do you solve that problem? Jeff and his team do it for you. You don't have to become a tax expert. You don't have to suddenly get really good at this. You just have to be open and honest and have your tax returns and have an honest discussion about your money with Jeff and his team. They'll come up with the plan for you and help execute on it so that you can live the life you want to live when you are ready to stop working and beyond. 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Hey, it's Julie Buck for Bishop's Post. It's that time of year again, so make sure to get your reservations at Bishop's Post for Christmas and New Year's Eve. They're filling up for holiday parties too, so get those reservations. Bishop's Post, located in Chesterfield at bishopspost.com.
For more than 25 years, Boardwalk Hardwood Floors has been a part of the St. Louis community. They sponsor school programs and charity golf events. They bleed blue, and they're honored to call St. Louis home. Boardwalk Hardwood Floors this holiday season is proud to partner with KTRS and Toys for Tots as a primary drop-off location for the toy drive. With 4 convenient showrooms across St. Louis, giving back has never been easier. Bring a new unwrapped toy and help make a child's Christmas a little bit brighter. To find the nearest showroom and drop-off details, go to BoardwalkHardwoodFloors.com.
Navigating to and through retirement doesn't have to be complex. Listen to What Retirement Means to You with Jerry Means. Sunday mornings at 10 on KTRS, the Talk of St. Louis.
Way back in time, if you had a leak in the roof of your hut, I imagine you had to find a tree close by, scale it, and then jump and hope you could get up there and see what was wrong. Then came the advent of the ladder. There was an easier way to get up there and see if something was wrong. And with modern technology, we finally get around to the drone. Now, the folks at Allen Roofing use those instead of trees and ladders. Send a drone up, find out if there's anything wrong with your roof, get some pictures, go over it with you, and see if there's a problem, how bad it is, what they could do, what it'll cost. Or if everything's just fine, they will tell you that too. Boy, it's so nice we don't have to climb trees to look at our hut. Allen Roofing, embracing technology and doing quality roof repair, siding, gutters, everything for the outside of your home. Just ask Gronk. He was one of the first customers. It's Allen Roofing. Find him online at aroofing.net.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watch Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top-notch. She doesn't just know the market, she knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684. store or go to LaurenRisleyRealty.com.
I'm Bob Hardcastle. Listen to my Money Talk radio program every Sunday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. on the Big 550, where we discuss your money in an easy-to-understand manner. We have interesting guests, chat about money. We try to help you feel more comfortable with your money by talking about the investment market. Join me. I'm Bob Hardcastle.
Money Talk, Sunday morning at 8 on the Big 550 KTRS.
Experience the warmth of holiday traditions with Prairie Farms flavored milk, eggnog, and custard. The taste of tradition is here with seasonal flavor sensations just in time for the holidays. Prairie Farms flavored milk, eggnog, and custard recipes start with rich and creamy dairy milk blended with the finest ingredients for an indulgent and seasonal delight. Enjoy them on their own or as part of your favorite cocktail for a festive touch. Then visit prairiefarms.com and enter the Taste of Tradition tab for a chance to win a KitchenAid stand mixer. Enjoy the holidays with locally made, naturally delicious Prairie Farms flavored milk, eggnog, and custard.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
John Carney, Julie Buck, weekdays at noon on KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Eggnog. I just heard the commercial for that. Real quick, thumbs up or thumbs down here in the studio. Are you eggnog person?
Oh, yeah. Grandpa Maxwell's eggnog.
Oh,
he has
homemade
he has a
eggnog.
family recipe with the egg whites and then the sugar and then it's good.
Okay, I do love myself some eggnog as well. Connor?
Yeah, I do. There's not a lot to get in the stores most of the time, though. Most of it's like one brand. You get like one option.
Well, yes, of course.
Or you get the Oberweis
Prairie Farms
option,
is what
too.
we should be
Prairie
buying. We
Farms.
just saw the commercial, but there's different flavors now. There's of course salted caramel, and I've seen a pumpkin version of eggnog. It's like everything else. It's got to go a little bit bougie to add to it. But I think I like just the good old fashioned eggnog. I don't really like it spiked. I like it just kind of unspiked, just regular eggnog. Couple
So then
sips.
it's just kind of like drinking a glass of milk, though.
Thick milk with sugar.
That's the thing.
with a
Some
lot of
nutmeg and
with a lot of
allspice in it.
with a lot of sugar. 5 on your sides. Mark Maxwell filling in for Frank today. And speaking of 5 on your side, breaking news from KSDK that Waymo, the robo taxi, of course, that's the driverless taxis, coming to St. Louis, and their Waymo drivers are beginning mapping the downtown area for those to come to St. Louis. I've seen them all over the place when I visit my daughter in Austin, other cities. Connor's made it very clear multiple times he will not be getting in one of those. And you brought up a really good point, Connor, about our current weather.
Well,
and
I just
a
wonder
Waymo.
how it handles the weather. I guess they're confident in it, but I'm not, so I don't know.
This whole
I'll be
thing-
the old school guy that doesn't ever get with the times.
You're objecting?
Yeah, I'm objecting.
He's a conscientious objector.
Yeah.
This feels to me like episode 47 in Rise of the Machines, but this episode is robots versus St. Louis potholes. How will Waymo navigate the potholes? I think it's a real question. You bring up the snow and ice. There's, you're right. They started testing a lot of these self-driving cars out west or in the south where there wasn't a lot of snow.
Not a lot of weather.
And the roads there don't change a lot because they don't have that contraction with the cold and then the heat and changing year over year and the salt and this big snow plows breaking them all up. So I do think there's a real question there, but that's a big question. Are you going to get in one?
Yeah, I would. My kids have ridden in them, and usually short rides in downtown areas. Of course, this you have to consider the source of the information here. But according to KSDK, Waymo is the source. Waymo is saying about itself that in the cities where it is operated, its data shows that its vehicles have 91% fewer serious injury or worse crashes compared to the average human driver. And another friend of mine who rides them frequently says, have you ever gotten into a taxi in New York City with some of the drivers who are driving taxis? And yes, I have. And I have
They can
had
be tired. They can be angry.
Yes.
They could have had a little too much eggnog.
I've even had an experience where I wanted to cut an Uber ride short in St. Louis because the driver was making me very uncomfortable in the style that they were driving. They were not driving in what I felt was a safe enough fashion. So yeah, humans are flawed in this
But there's
situation
kind of a
as well.
deeper question, right, that I guess they never have addressed or have not to this point, where it's like they have fewer accidents they are responsible for, but they are still have some. And then who is to blame? Is it the company? There's no driver anymore, so you can't put it on the driver. I don't know. I feel like that is a hard hill.
But in any company,
to
I mean, I
climb.
will say, and anybody who's legal counsel for a company would say that they don't. You never go after the drivers. You go after the company. If anybody's driving for a company, you go after the company.
On a personal level, who do you blame?
Yeah,
I will say those
there's
things,
no driver anymore.
They do work quite well. I had a friend of mine who put his own body on the line to test this.
I know you've told us that story before. I didn't think this was the smartest thing. I have to say
it wasn't. But we were, and I got to tell you, the thing stopped on a dime. It was quite wild. But the Waymo cars, they're coming to St. Louis. You're going to see them with those little funny cameras on the top and the side spinning around, and they'll be driving through without a driver in the front seat.
How about this on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line? Yum, eggnog. With eggnog ice cream in a blender to make an eggnog shake. From the 314, you are inspiring. Thank you for helping us think of that. That sounds absolutely delicious. Also from the 314, downtown St. Louis has a lot of random road closures for events and other reasons. I wonder how they're going to handle that in the driverless car situation.
I want to know how Waymo's going to read those confusing road signs.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like downtown St. Louis is going to give them a real run for their money on how this all works. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Hey, have a great rest of the show coming up for you in our second hour. The first hour's flown by. I want you to stick around to hear from Tariq Khan. He'll be in to talk all things Sound of Music. Text in Royal Banks, Missouri text line 84126. What are your memories? Do you love the movie? Do you turn when the channels when it shows up this time of year? We'd love to hear from you. And then my friend Glenn Zimmerman, a little bit later in the show, we talked about finger pointing happening between MoDOT and the Weather Service about what happened Monday. He's going to give us some insider information on all of it right after the news.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've got some important news from our friends at Dalco Home Remodeling. You know they're locally owned and family operated. More importantly, they've been installing the very best windows and doors in town for the past 50 years. That great offer that they have on windows at Dalco has now been extended through the end of the month, so you can still earn a $600 tax credit on new windows. Plus, Dalco has upped the ante to an additional $260 credit per window for up to 10 of their Elite Series windows with 0% financing for up to 18 months. That's up to $3,200 in credits. The Energy Star tax credit offer is ending forever and will not return. So you've got to act fast. This incredible offer ends through the end of the month. So you call today, 314-298-7300 to get up to $3,200 in credits for up to 10 new energy-efficient windows. Or go online, DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. If you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved with Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call 314-298-7300. See store for details.
What do you give the person who's always at their desk? X-Chair. This holiday, give next level comfort with X-Chair ergonomic seating. Dynamic variable lumbar support and SiFloat Infinite Recline has your back. X-Chair elevates work, gaming, projects with everyday comfort. During the X-Chair holiday sale, you can save up to 50% site-wide. Don't wait. These deals won't last. Visit xchair.com and save up to 50% today. That's xchair.com.
Find the most wonderful gifts at Macy's Friends and Family Sale with incredible deals on our best brands like Donna Karan, Avec Les Filles, Calvin Klein, and more, all at 30% off. Plus, take 15% off beauty and fragrance from Lancôme, Clinique, and Yves Saint Laurent. Or Star Rewards members can earn $20 in Star money for every $100 spent on eligible brands. Going on now, only at Macy's Friends and Family Sale. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is distancing himself from the second strike on an alleged drug boat. Lawmakers from both parties are raising concerns about the follow-up strike, which may be deemed a war crime. ABC's Martha Raddatz has more.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth insists the decision to launch a second strike against a suspected drug boat in September was not his call, but Admiral Mitch Bradley, the mission commander. The Washington Post story said that Bradley launched the second strike on survivors clinging to a boat because of Hegseth's initial order to kill everyone.
Admiral Bradley is scheduled to brief House lawmakers in a closed-door hearing tomorrow on the boat strikes. The Trump administration is set to launch immigration operations next in Minnesota. President Trump ramping up criticism of Somali immigrants. ABC's Rachel Scott has more.
The president criticizing Somalis for weeks now, terminating temporary protected status for Somalis and writing, "Send them back to where they came from." And this morning, the Trump administration cracking down on immigration nationwide, pausing all immigration applications for people from 19 so-called countries of concern, including Somalia, Afghanistan, Venezuela, and Sudan.
Foreign ministers and allies are gathering in Brussels today for NATO meetings, including talks on Russia's war in Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will not be attending. The summit comes a day after U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner were in Moscow meeting with Russia's president for about 5 hours on a revised peace proposal to end the war. No compromise was reached. Israel says it's received remains of a possible hostage from Gaza. DNA testing is still needed to determine if it's one of 2 final deceased hostages to be returned. Israel says it will start allowing Palestinians to leave Gaza at the Rafah crossing, but says they won't be able to return to Gaza through the Rafah crossing until the hostage remains are returned. You're listening to ABC.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. Days after a massive warehouse fire near downtown St. Louis, crews are searching the area for a missing homeless person. Fire officials say homeless people escaped when the fire broke out on Friday at the vacant complex along South 2nd and Cedar Streets, but one of their friends is still missing. An early morning fire is to blame for damaging a Maryland Heights restaurant. Firefighters were called to a fire at Sarah's Pizzeria along McKelvey Road at around 5 this morning. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fire is still being investigated, but fire officials say it's believed the fire started in the kitchen. A family farm in southern Illinois is reporting a case of the bird flu. This is at the Funk family farm in Freeburg, which reports it's halting its egg sales after receiving the result of a positive avian influenza outbreak. Today is the last day to adopt a pet, with adoption fees being waived at the St. Louis County Pet Adoption Center. This is being done through the county's Home for the Holidays program. This week, thousands of St. Louis children in foster care will have a chance to celebrate the holidays thanks to the Bar Association of Metropolitan St. Louis. More from KTRS's Steve Potter.
On Saturday, the Bar Association holds its annual Motion for Kids event. It's happening at Harris Stowe State University, where some 2,200 children in foster care and whose lives have been impacted by the criminal justice system will enjoy gifts personalized just for them. Nearly 50 law firms and partnering organizations are taking part, with more than 100 volunteers helping the children celebrate the day not only with gifts, but with a chance to meet Santa. Over its 3-decade run, the Motion for Kids event has helped make the holidays brighter for more than 60,000 St. Louis children. Steve Potter, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. The state of Illinois is being honored with an International Award for Leadership in Innovation. Yesterday, the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity was recognized with the Startup Ecosystem Stars Award, acknowledging the state's international leadership in talent, research, investment, industry support, and innovation policy. The award was presented at the 2025 Startup Ecosystem Stars Awards in Paris. And now let's take a look at the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings from 9 to 11. Wall Street right now, Dow Jones is up 210 points to 47,684. S&P 500 up 6 points to 6,835. NASDAQ down 23 points to 23,389. KTRS Sports. SLU basketball bounced back from the Stanford loss with a resounding 91-70 victory at Loyola Marymount. Trey Green led the way for the Billikens with 23 points. East St. Louis football lost in the Illinois State Championship game 38-28 against Oak Park Fenwick. The Flyers fall short of winning their 12th all-time state title. KTRS weather. Today we are above freezing, cloudy high of 39, so we could see some melting of the ice and snow. Late this afternoon or early evening, possible wintry mix of light snow and rain, overnight low of 17. Tomorrow, cold again with the refreeze of any melting we have today. Mix of sun and clouds, high tomorrow of 22. Right now we have 32 degrees. The time is 11:06. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
What a voice. 29-year-old Julie Andrews, The Sound of Music, 60 years ago.
What a stellar sound it was.
It was. The film came out. Welcome back to the second hour of the Frank and Jill Show. Jill Farmer, Mark Maxwell from Five on Your Side sitting in for Frank. Connor McCarthy here as well. And Tart Khan for one of our favorite and your favorite features that we do. Back to the feature where we rewatch classic movies or movies that are having a special anniversary this year, and you chose The Sound of Music for us. Perfect holiday movie. Tarek, great to have you here. Why did you choose this movie?
Well, first of all, it's celebrating its 60th anniversary, if you can believe that. And The Sound of Music, it's widely regarded as one of the great family films of all time, one of the great musicals of all time, and in general, one of the greatest movies ever made. It's actually considered, I mean, up on the level with films like Lawrence of Arabia and Gone with the Wind and The Godfather. It's that good. And of course, the Sound of Music, it's a movie which I think everyone grew up on. I mean, as a child, we watched it every holiday season. The family was sat around and had a great time. And I think many people, across the, across, of course, our region and the entire country and the world grew up with The Sound of Music. And it's a classic, and it's a film which I think really does stand the test of time. I just rewatched it for the first time in many years, and it was even better than I remember.
It has so many layers, Tark. At its core, it's a love story. It's a family dynamic story. It's a political story with some historic heft, some dark moments. Which of those driving factors do you think has the most hook to it? And which of those do you think carries the most weight today, and why?
Oh, well, great question, Mark, because I think most of us, regard the film as just being really a great family drama, a great love story. Here you have, this young sort of confused nun, and she's sent to this family to be a governess and work with a family of 7 children and a widower. And of course, immediately when she arrives, I mean, Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, they are opposites, they clash, but the chemistry is just undeniable. And you see
authority
them
versus
love.
Emotional intelligence.
Exactly right. And of course, you see that the children fall in love with her, and she falls in love with them. And the music, the songs and dancing, it's just all so sweet and so charming. But yes, so that I think really dominates the film. But it's kind of funny how I think most people actually don't really remember, the political angle to the film, and how really at the second half of the film, or maybe the third quarter, it becomes about the family escaping the Nazi takeover of Austria. And it's really towards the end, it becomes a thriller, and it's really intense. I forgot about that, but that really is remarkable, just the way it sort of transitions during the course of the film.
Really, yeah, that's a great point. And I remembered that part, but in rewatching it again over the last couple of nights, I was reminded just how intense it does get. It goes from sort of the love story and the dynamic of Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer into something a lot more intense. Just looking up some research for this, I thought it was super interesting that 20th Century Fox acquired the film rights back in 1959, but it almost didn't get made because the studio had spent so much money on Cleopatra in 1963 that they said, we don't really have enough. This $8 million it's going to cost to make this epic, Rodgers and Hammerstein musical into the big screen. And then Julie Andrews had some cold feet because she thought maybe playing this sort of similar role to something she had in Mary Poppins, that she was going to get typecast and not be able to leave it. What other things about the history of the film did you find interesting?
Actually, great points, Jill, because of course Cleopatra from 1963, which was a Best Picture nominee, was of course a famous flop, and so nobody wanted to see that again. And yes, Julie Andrews had reservations about the role. Apparently, Christopher Plummer, had reservations as well. They had to convince him to take on the role. Both Andrews and Plummer at the time weren't really household names yet. I mean, Julie Andrews, when she was cast, Mary Poppins had yet to be released, so she was in a sense kind of a wild card. But despite all the obstacles, all the challenges, it really is amazing that everything came together as perfectly. I mean, the casting, in fact, between Christopher Plummer, many other actors were considered for the part. I mean, Yul Brynner, of course, a Best Actor winner for The King and I think would have been, a logical choice. But Christopher Plummer, I think he was perfect in the part. And again, the chemistry between him and Julie Andrews, absolutely undeniable. And as
Dame
viewers,
Julie Andrews still with us.
Exactly right. And as you watch them on screen, I think as an audience, as a viewer, you root for them. Like you realize that they love each other, and you're like, come on, folks, you love each other. Just realize it.
I don't know.
And
Some
you're
of
so
those
happy
kids
they-
were annoying, though.
Well, true. So long, farewell. Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the Academy Awards and what did they like or not like about this film.
Okay, yes. Well, The Sound of Music had 10 Oscar nominations, and it won 5. Best Picture, Best Director for Robert Wise, Best Film Editing, Best Sound, and Best Score. It's funny, Julie Andrews was nominated for Best Actress, and she just won the year earlier for Mary Poppins. Had she not already won, she probably would have won. She lost to Julie Christie for Darling, but The Sound of Music, it had faced some tough competition from films like Darling and Dr. Zhivago, which was also that year, so it was stiff competition, but it won 5 Oscars, including the big one. And at the time, also recall that it became the highest-grossing film of all time, surpassing Gone with the Wind. I think it held that distinction for about 6 years. So it broke box office records, and the Academy clearly embraced it quite as well.
I think we've talked before, Tark, that the spoiler rules don't apply when the movie is old enough.
True, yes.
But for anyone listening to this and just catching a trace of the conversation about The Sound of Music, perhaps they haven't seen it, for the first time in 2025, this holiday season, if they were to sit down and watch it, what would you prepare them for? What do you think would hit differently now than it did for those audiences when they saw it for the first time all those years ago?
Well, I think really, in a sense, I think it is, perhaps the thing people would really, feel, they of course would love that love story, but I think that they would be so, mesmerized by, again, the political angle to the story. And here you see from the start, there are hints towards at the beginning of the film about Captain Von Trapp and his, resistance to the Nazi takeover, and how he firmly believes in a strong Austria, and he has no sympathy, for Hitler. And as the film progresses, suddenly, that really takes over the film, and it's almost jarring in a sense to see this family suddenly have to, after they've just gone through this great love story, and they've come together as a family, and they've gotten married, but suddenly now they've got to flee for their lives, because he actually says, if they were to stay there, if he were to refuse to take part in the Nazi regime, that it would be fatal. Those are the words that he used. So that the drama, the impact there, absolutely. I think audiences would really be blown away by that if they'd never seen it before.
One of our texters from the Royal Banks of Missouri text line saying the thing that really impacted them was the tragic ending of that beautiful 16-year-old woman, Liesel, I think, who was falling in love with Rolf, the guy who was delivering all of the what was he delivering? I can't think of the word right now.
All the telegrams?
Telegrams, thank you. The mind, it's a terrible thing to lose.
All good.
And so then the fact that he betrays her and her family and becomes a Nazi, that's just, it's this, the listeners pointing out, it is, even rewatching it last night, I was like, and then you just can't stand that kid.
Oh, exactly right. And by the way, I forgot, at the very end there, where he's the one who discovers them when they're hiding at the Abbey. And I actually forgot what happened. And Captain Von Trapp is trying to tell him, you're not one of them. You're better than that. Come with us. I thought for a second, okay, he's going to go with him. And then of course, no. He blows his whistle, and the search then ensues. And for a second there, I thought maybe this time, he'll see the light, and he'll join them. But no. So yeah, that character was so unlikable. And yeah, really. But that's actually one of the unhappy, I think, endings of the storylines in The Sound of Music.
Yeah, one of the fun things too is the fact that it's loosely based on an actual family from Austria, the Von Trapp family, singers who ended up emigrating to the United States and became the Trapp family singers, and they actually have a lodge. If you go to Stowe, Vermont, which I have, and skied there, you can visit the lodge. It's
I've
pretty
heard about
cool.
this. Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I mean, when we got there, we were like, "Wait, this is actually the Sound of Music people." Yeah, but it's a cool history, and I think so many Americans do feel connected to this story.
Oh, yeah, no question. And by the way, I just want to mention that, back in the 1960s, I mean, musicals were really hot in Hollywood. I mean, West Side Story had won Best Picture in 1961. My Fair Lady had won Best Picture the year earlier. The Sound of Music, I mean, continued that tradition of musicals doing very well with the Academy. Oliver would win a few years later. But after that, the Academy really cooled to musicals. We saw much darker films, win in years later. Films like, The French Connection and The Godfather and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Deer Hunter. So those sweet, musicals of the 60s, which the Academy so embraced, I mean, really, I think, became a thing of the past just a short while later.
Do you think those are an acquired taste for the audience, too? A musical in general?
I suppose so. And actually, I should tell people, Jill, I hope you don't mind, our colleague Frank Cusimano, he was actually not so excited about talking about the Sound of Music.
Yeah, he actually assigned it while he was gone.
Exactly. So he's missing on this conversation. Yeah, I suppose for a lot of people, musicals may not be their thing, and but even if not, I think it's hard for anybody, especially anyone, as part of a family, to not be able to sit down, with family, especially during the holiday season, and just love this musical because it's just irresistible.
I have to say, rewatching it again, I think I know almost every word to every song. I didn't realize I did, but it was just sort of baked in. It's
They're
one
catchy.
of those, yeah, and it was kind of the soundtrack of your childhood, your whole life as you watch it enough times and sing these songs in music class and stuff as you're growing up. If you're of a certain age.
Do you want to do the Lonely Goatherd right now?
Yeah, let's start it. Mark can sing too.
I think there's a cowbell nearby somewhere.
There you go.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
going to happen?
I always love who decided to either pass on the roles or was considered. And for the Julie Andrews, as you mentioned, not super well known at the time, Doris Day and Grace Kelly were both floated as possibles. You mentioned Yul Brynner for the Captain Von Trapp, Bing Crosby as well. He would have been a little bit up. That would have been a bigger age differential. Might have been a little harder. But in the actual Von Trapp family case, there was a 25-year age gap between the dad, who was a widow, and the governess. She was actually 25 years younger than him, but it was a different time.
It really was. By the way, can I just mention that Christopher Plummer, was he not fantastic in the part as Captain Von Trapp? I mean, I forgot how good he was.
Yeah, because you start out going, gosh, this guy's a jerk, and he treats
Real
his
stick in the
children
mud,
so poorly and just so distant, and then you come to love him. Really.
Absolutely, and he becomes not just a loving father and husband, but so heroic. And by the way, Christopher Plummer, he was not nominated for Best Actor. I'm not sure how that happened because he was terrific. Julie Andrews was nominated, but he was not nominated. Peggy Wood as the Mother Abbess, she was nominated for Supporting Actress, but no, Mr. Plummer. He would, of course, get his Oscar revenge when he won Best Supporting Actor of 2011 for a film called Beginners. But it's a shame he wasn't nominated because it's funny, if he had been nominated, Julie Andrews presented Best Actor that year, and the winner was Lee Marvin in Cat Ballou, which was kind of a strange win. If Christopher Plummer would have won, can you imagine Julie Andrews giving him the Oscar? That would have been a great moment. That unfortunately, we were denied.
Yeah, that's for sure. Somebody else from the 314 texting in, if you're mentioning great songs and movies, mention Paint Your Wagon. Clint Eastwood actually was a great singer in that era that it hasn't quite stood the test of time, I think, in the same way as The Sound of Music has. I want to talk about the length of the movie. It actually had an intermission.
Yes.
And, we've kind of gone for a few years there in modern times, movies like Oppenheimer and others were going 3+ hours, and we talked about it. But I do think it moved well enough for me. I didn't really think, this is too long or it needs to be shorter. But give us a little bit of historical context on length of movies and how it worked.
Yeah, well, actually, going back to the 1930s and 40s, many films had intermissions because they were often so long. And when they of course played in theaters, those intermissions were very helpful for people sitting through those long films.
Go get some
popcorn.
popcorn.
By the way, exactly right. And by the way, of course, The Sound of Music, based on the Broadway musical, most Broadway musicals have intermissions, so it kind of fits that tradition that people are kind of used to. So it worked well. And of course, the great music they played during the intermission was actually, I think, really one of the best musical sequences of the film. So when I rewatched it, I sat through the intermission to listen to that great music, and it really was so memorable. So part of the experience, I think.
A texter from the 217 texts in to say she's 74 now. She was 14 when she first saw The Sound of Music. Where? At the Fox Theater.
Amazing. She must have seen it. She must watch it the year it opened, then, right? 60 years ago.
I'm doing the math here.
Fantastic. 1965.
Yeah,
Amazing.
very,
Wow.
very cool.
Wow.
And as a matter of fact, a few years ago, and I can't remember how often they've done it. My 29-year-old, I think, was 5 or 6 years old. My dad, when he was visiting the town, took her down for a sing-along viewing of The Sound of Music at the Fox Theater, and the audience was encouraged to sing along to all the songs, and they had the musicians there performing along. It was a pretty fun event.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yes.
So,
And Tarek, we're not going to actually hold you to your promise to sing your favorite song from The Sound of Music here live on the radio. We're not going to make you do that.
oh, my favorite things. I was prepared to just deck it out.
Okay,
but
here's
oh
the pitch
well.
back. No, I'm just kidding. As always, very fun conversation about The Sound of Music with you. And in 2 weeks, you will be back for our Back to the Future segment, talking about a movie that's having another anniversary this year. I don't think of it as an all-time great Christmas movie, but Frank was dying to talk about this movie. So tell us what
The
people
movie's
can
celebrating-
rewatch between
celebrating
now.
Its 35th anniversary, and really appropriate for the weather we've been having, because you imagine getting stuck, in your vehicle and having someone come rescue you and think, oh gosh, thank heavens this happened. But the movie will be talking about Misery with Kathy Bates, her Academy-winning performance, and poor James Caan. He had no idea what was in store, so we will revisit that classic film, I guess, in 2 weeks.
Very fun. Tarek Khan, as always, Back to the Future segment. Thanks so much for being with us here today. We'll look forward to all rewatching. I haven't watched it, I think, since I saw it, the original in theater. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that stands the test of time as well. Premier Heating and Cooling, our friends, talk about companies that stand the test of time, been doing great things for St. Louis customers for a long time now, and they really base the foundation of the business is built on two very strong pillars. One is having really the best trained technicians in the business, well above industry standards. I like to call it premier standards, where they make sure that that they have a rigorous 5-year training program, and they continue to participate in education and training. So their technicians are familiar with just about every system that is out there and can keep it running for you in a safe and efficient way. Additionally, they just go the extra mile when it comes to customer service. They know that you have so many companies in this day and age that you work with that seems to put the customer last, right? No more customer first like we used to see. Bad communication, difficulty figuring out who's doing what, right hand, left hand, not in conjunction. And at Premier Heating and Cooling, they have great communication. They pride themselves on really tracking everything that their technicians are doing. So the next time they come out, they have good information. They're building on the information they have from every time they come out, so they understand your system and what your needs are. And you just really feel seen and taken care of. And it's something that we don't take for granted when it comes to customer service in 2025. PremierHeatingandCooling.net, 636-916-1122.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Hey, thanks, Farmer Dave. It's been very busy. In the last few weeks, the listeners have been calling, and I've been showing up. I bought several Corvettes, Vipers, Mopars, and even an entire collection directly out of listeners' garages. I'm still looking for more, too. If you have an interesting vehicle to sell, call us or hop on our site today. We'll come right to your house if need be. We're busy selling, too. Black Friday specials are already in full effect with financing rates as low as 3.99 up to 66 months on 2019 or newer models for those who qualify. Time to buy and sell right now.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
Black Friday may have come and gone, but the unbelievable savings are still underway at appliance discounters. Name brands like Speed Queen, GE Profile, Cafe, Bosch, LG, Frigidaire, just to name a few of the brands they have at appliance discounters. Next day delivery, next day installation, free interest, free financing, locally owned, the largest appliance retailer in St. Louis. You can't beat the prices at appliance discounters. 6 area locations. TheApplianceDiscounters.com. That's TheApplianceDiscounters.com.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on, and that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Do you want this holiday season to be the best ever? Quite simply, go see my friends Jimmy and Mike Lordo and their amazing staff at Lordo's Diamonds on Clayton Road in the heart of Ladue. Nothing says I love you like going to a family jeweler. Shop local this holiday season and win the holidays by shopping at Lordo's Diamonds. For over 80 years, they've been St. Louis's family jeweler of choice. So, where do you go? Clayton Road on Ladue, Lordo's Diamonds, or online at lordosdiamonds.com.
Wake up, it's a brand new day. Getting your weekday started the St. Louis way. It's the McGraw Show.
Hey, it's Carl the Intern. Thursday on the McGraw Show. You've seen the thing on the back of your driver's license about an organ donor. You've thought it is a joke. It's not a joke. It's a real thing. Mid-America Transplant's going to be on with us at 10 minutes to 9. Tell us why it's a great thing. Well, you know why it's a great thing. Just do it.
McGraw Millhaven, Rose Dalton, and Carl the Intern. Weekday morning, 6 to 10.
Right here on your hometown station, the Big 550, KTRS.
Give the gift of savings this holiday season with my friends at Neighbors Credit Union. The toddlers and the teens and those young savers in between will thank you for the gift of savings as they watch their smart savings account earn more with an exclusive 10% APY on the first $1,000. Smart savings accounts are available for savers through the age of 22. Stop by one of the 8 area Neighbors Credit Union locations and open up a smart account, or you can do it online at neighborscu.org. Federally insured, NCUA.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online and see their entire inventory at bommarito.com.
Want a song?
On my mind like the song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550, KTRS.
Welcome back, everybody. Very glad you're with us here. Of course, being a listener of the Frank and Jill Show has all kinds of benefits, including the fact that you get to participate in the KTRS 12 Days of Christmas promotion. It's really fun. The Big 550 celebrates the 12 Days of Christmas mark every year by giving gifts to our incredible listeners. Each weekday during this event, you can go to KTRS.com and you go to the 12 Days of Christmas slider, click on it, register for the daily prize, and it changes each weekday at midnight. 12 days, 12 prizes. Heidi, Josh, and Bob. Is Bob back today, Connor?
He is back, and they're on remote today.
All right. Going to be exciting. Announce the winner for the next day. It's that simple. Be sure to register to win today's prize. It's 2 teeth whitening kits from Yenzer Family Dental. All you have to do, again, KTRS.com, click on that 12 Days of Christmas, register, and you have a chance to win. And you can find out during the Heidi Glaus Show whether you won.
Wow, you're looking out for the image of the viewers here. Giving them those pearly whites.
Yes, for sure. Supposedly it makes us all look younger when we have whiter teeth. I was one of those people that was kind of born with not the whitest teeth in the world, but I should probably be better about it. My tea habit doesn't help that as well. Hey, song of the day and a quote of the day today. The song is a little bit related to what's been happening with the weather. We're going to talk in just a couple of minutes to my friend Glenn Zimmerman with some really good insights on some reporting he and Chris Higgins have been doing about just how do you figure out how much snow is going to fall, and who is talking to the schools about making these big decisions and who from the Weather Services is talking to the folks over at MoDOT, and why didn't the right hand and the left hand know what they were doing in this situation? So somebody pointed out that since we had our first big snow event of the year, if you don't want to call it a snowstorm, on December 1st, that this could end up being a very long December for us. We're not used to having snow this early in the year here in St. Louis. So that inspired the song of the day called A Long December, 26-year-old song now from our friends Counting Crows. you're playing that song, of course, you have to leave in some of the nanas because that's an important part of the song. That would have been in your strike zone of songs that you knew from your past, wouldn't it? Or is it a little before your time?
Yeah, maybe. What's funny is every time a singer or a writer just runs out of ideas, you just na 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 na. You can just get by. Just fill those lines.
That worked. Did you know that song, Connor?
I've heard it, but I don't.
I mean, obviously, you were only 3 years old when it came out.
No, I did not hear it when it was on the radio,
Right.
probably, but I'm aware of the song. I just, I don't really, I hadn't heard it in a while.
I like how you find a way to connect current events to music.
Sometimes,
You're
our
looking for-
listeners
yeah.
actually are the big source of a lot of our songs of the day. They'll find stuff that run across interesting mixes, or somebody will be coming to town, and we like to play when there's. I didn't play Kenny G. He is going to be playing
Right.
tonight here. It's hard to kind of. I was a fan back in the day, but
I was bracing for some holiday music.
I know. Well, speaking of holiday, we're going to have a little holiday humor in the quote of the day, soundbite of the day. Greg Warren, of course, he's from St. Louis. We're so proud of him. He's really making it big. He's always been big in our hearts, but so many people around the country now know who he is because of just hitting a bigger national stage. And he had a really funny piece that we just ran across on Christmas gift bags that made me smile. I hope it does make you guys laugh a little as well. Yeah, keep it up. There's the last part is a good part.
Nice.
Foot powder. I mean, that's a very good line. I will say, in our house, we do tend to go a little bit on gender lines. One of us waits until the very last minute to wrap gifts, and most of them are thrown into Christmas gift bags. So I just leave them behind in the Christmas wrapping stuff for my husband because I know he's going to be enjoying being able to use those Christmas bags and not actually wrap.
Hey, we lead busy lives, and I got to tell you, we always see the data and the statistics come out every March that says corporate America suffers its worst loss in productivity during March Madness, because people are so distracted. I don't know. I haven't seen the numbers to compare, but I got to think this stretch between Thanksgiving and Christmas has to be a close second, if not number one, of the biggest shock to productivity in workforces. I mean, let's be honest. How many of us are really at our best? We're at the end. It's like garbage time in a blowout game at the end of this is the end of the year. We've done all the big things in 2025. We're all ready to turn the page in 2026. I think this is that moment where I think it's great that we have a Walgreens where we have convenience. We can just drop in, get a few helpful trinkets and things, tasty treats for the loved ones. Nothing wrong with it.
Yep, procrastinators unite is what I'm hearing from you, and I think that's just fine. Hey, our friends over at the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra want to remind you that December is just a fabulous time. If you haven't had a chance to get to see all the beautiful things that are happening over at the new Powell Hall, it's just a really good time to check out so many different concerts for all kinds of people's musical tastes. Coming up in just a day, on December 4th, live at the Sheldon, Reed's in Turn. We've got Shostakovich's 15th Rebellion and Reckoning on December 5th and 6th. A lot of your favorites. Handel's Messiah, Joyful Praise, coming up on the 12th through the 14th. Multiple nights to get your ticket as well. The Community Christmas Concert with some Latin flair coming up on December 15th. The In Unison Christmas with some incredible vocalists. Mercy Holiday Celebration, the 20th and 21st. And then, of course, the very fun Home Alone concert where the symphony plays along with the movie Home Alone a little bit later. All you have to do is go to slso.org. That's slso.org. Tickets are still available. You can get them today. They're going to sell out fast. Coming up right after this, you guys, we've got Glenn Zimmerman, my friend from Fox 2, talking about trying to predict how things are going to go when it comes to snowfall in St. Louis. Don't go away.
Recently, a good friend of mine was changing the light fixture in their kitchen, and they took the light fixture off the ceiling, and they looked inside the ceiling and said, what is the phone number to Michael Baldy? If they would have listened to me, they would have put Michael Baldy's phone number in their phone, because everybody needs a good electrician on speed dial. So here you go. The next time you need an electrician, you need to remember Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. So the phone number, 314-968-9999. Indoor, outdoor, an old Victorian home, knob and tube wiring, and anything and everything in between. You see, Michael Baldy is a licensed electrician, and he has a team ready to go. Whether it's something for the ceiling in the kitchen, something for the lights for the holidays, whatever it may be, Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. BaldyElectric.com, 314-968-9999, because everybody needs a good electrician on speed dial, BaldyElectric.com.
A message from the master. If you are looking for that one-of-a-kind gift this year, come on in to Newsletter's Fine Jewelers. Let Richard draw your future present for somebody you love. This special engraving lasts a lifetime. At the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
For more than 25 years, Boardwalk Hardwood Floors has been a part of the St. Louis community. They sponsor school programs and charity golf events. They bleed blue, and they're honored to call St. Louis home. Boardwalk Hardwood Floors this holiday season is proud to partner with KTRS and Toys for Tots as a primary drop-off location for the toy drive. With 4 convenient showrooms across St. Louis, giving back has never been easier. Bring a new unwrapped toy and help make a child's Christmas a little bit brighter. To find the nearest showroom and drop-off details, go to BoardwalkHardwoodFloors.com.
It's time to start pulling the sweaters and pullovers out of the closet. But wait, the Blues have rebranded, and we've got something new for you to add to your winter wardrobe. On December 9th, when the Blues face off against the Bruins at Enterprise Center, the first 10,000 fans will score a cozy quilted quarter zip thanks to Pepsi Zero Sugar. This gray pullover features a stitched blue note on the front and the new STL mark on the back, so you can rep your team and your city all winter long. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at stlouisblues.com/tickets.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've got some important news from our friends at Dalco Home Remodeling. You know they're locally owned and family operated. More importantly, they've been installing the very best windows and doors in town for the past 50 years. That great offer that they have on windows at Dalco has now been extended through the end of the month, so you can still earn a $600 tax credit on new windows. Plus, Dalco has upped the ante to an additional $260 credit per window for up to 10 of their Elite Series windows with 0% financing for up to 18 months. That's up to $3,200 in credits. The Energy Star tax credit offer is ending forever and will not return. So you've got to act fast. This incredible offer ends through the end of the month. So you call today, 314-298-7300 to get up to $3,200 in credits for up to 10 new energy-efficient windows. Or go online, DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. If you buy somewhere else and find out how much you could have saved with Dalco, you'll blow your stack. So call 314-298-7300. See store for details.
Okay, so the tree is up, but it's tilting towards the side door. All right, look, you got to get it straight. Go to Schnarr's Hardware, Clayton Road in Ladue or in Webster on Lockwood. Schnarr's Hardware has 2 locations, and they have everything for the holidays, whether it's extra extension cords, maybe a couple of extra lights, last-minute gift. Oh, Aunt Sally's coming. She's bringing you a gift. I got to get something. Schnarr's Hardware will help you out. You need to put the lawn to bed? Yeah, Schnarr's Hardware has all sorts of winterized fertilizers to help you get through these winter months. You see, at Schnarr's Hardware, it's more than just a friendly neighborhood hardware store. It's a part of Americana, and it has brought St. Louisans together for years. So when you walk into Schnarr's Hardware, you'll notice the customer service is great, the smell is great, the popcorn is free. Schnarr's Hardware. Happy holidays from Schnarr's Hardware. Make sure your holiday is complete with a trip to Schnarr's Hardware. Schnarr's Hardware, Merry Christmas.
Good tune. Connor McCarthy, Jill Farmer, Mark Maxwell here on the Frank and Jill Show. Frank back from a very well-timed few days visiting some family in Florida. Last night, I thought Glenn Zimmerman, my old friend from Fox 2, did a really good job sort of helping us get some context, because there was a lot of finger-pointing, people saying MoDOT screwed up, and that's why we ended up with 2+ hour commutes that should have taken 20 minutes on Monday afternoon. National Weather Service had changed things in the forecast, and Glenn Zimmerman is going to join us now because, Glenn, you did such an excellent job at helping me understand, after all these years of watching you and and your colleagues and great meteorologists here in St. Louis predict snowfall and timing of snowfall. You helped me understand for the first time that it's one of the trickiest weather phenomenon to actually predict. Do I have that right?
Yeah, super hard. It's harder than really literally any other weather event.
Even a tornado or anything like
Even
that?
a tornado, yeah. Tornadoes, we can say, hey, we've got the risk. We can define a risk. We can give you hours of notification. We can, give you warnings that have 45 minutes of notification. There's a tornado on the ground. So the messaging with that is much simpler than trying to forecast snow. And part of the reason why is that we are trying to forecast different layers in the atmosphere. So it's not just, us standing on the ground. We're trying to forecast for a layer in the atmosphere that's, say, from the top of the arch all the way up another, 1,000 feet or so. And then from that 1,000 feet, we're trying to forecast the next 1,000 feet. And all of those levels or layers in the atmosphere define what happens down here at the Earth. It's easy when it's rain and it's all warm. All those layers are warm. So a quarter of an inch of rain, doesn't really do much. We say, oh, here it comes. Okay, well, it's coming a little bit earlier, but, it's not going to have any major impacts. But that quarter of an inch of rain in the scenario that we had on Monday was 2.5 inches of snow during a couple of hours. And that's where it all went downhill pretty quickly.
Hey, Glenn, it's Mark Maxwell, your arch nemesis and mortal enemy from Channel 5 here. You know how we are in local news. It gets real competitive out there, Glenn. I got to ask you here. A politician, a weatherman, and a snowplow driver, all three walk into a bar in St. Louis. Who's getting a drink thrown at them first?
Oh, my. That's a good one. Well, the snowplow drivers are working hard. So I will say it's probably the snowplow driver gets the free drink. But between the politician and the meteorologist, I don't know. I've been fielding emails this morning, people saying, hey, why did this go south? And, these things happen sometimes. It happens that you wake up in the morning and go, oh, my gosh, this thing is moving quicker. And I have to say this about the National Weather Service. What we, as TV meteorologists, we're partners with them. We rely on them for information, and they rely on us for information. So in a severe weather event, they're sort of giving us the warnings, the tornado warnings and things like that. They cover that part of meteorology. What we do is we cover the broadcast part. And as meteorologists, we then also send them information about what we're seeing from our data, from our reporters, from our boots on the ground. And so it's a circular effort. But what they specifically do in a scenario like this, they have to send out messaging to a bazillion sources. Not a bazillion, but okay, school districts, emergency managers, MoDOT, all of these groups, they have to make a decision that then sends that message out in a timely manner, and that's really difficult to do in the way the communications are for them. For me, if I'm on TV and I'm talking about severe weather, and just as an example, we saw this on May 16th. We said, hey, here comes this line. Oh my gosh, this thing is starting to rotate. Here comes a tornado. We knew that just by identifying it live on the air. And then, yes, there's a tornado and there's warnings and all that stuff, but I can change literally on a dime with the forecast. The Weather Service, has to go through different levels of communication to get that info out.
And Glenn, I was kind of giving you a little grief there at a comedic level, but I think there was some political finger pointing.
I hate you, right? Wait a minute. Aren't I supposed to hate you?
No. Right. Well, but I wonder how you see that, because you mentioned the speed and how quickly the precipitation level changed here, and I wonder how you think about that when it comes to state and city agencies preparing for all this stuff. Then you see some of the political finger pointing happening. When you think about this, isn't it true that local meteorologists who understand the region have some built-up experience and intuitive knowledge that helps them see when something's escalating quickly? And how should everyday viewers understand just how quickly those kind of dynamics can change on the ground?
sometimes they change quickly in speed. They speed up, and sometimes they slow down. And so, I've been forecasting St. Louis weather for 35 plus years. And, we have a team that combined, we have 100 years of forecast experience. So we've seen a lot of things and we recognize a lot of patterns. But I'll say this, the Weather Service does the same thing. They see things. They have buckets of data that we don't necessarily have access to, and they rely on those grids to help their forecast. So it's, in the case of Monday, I'll tell you this. This is how, personally for me, it happened. I woke up in the morning and literally roll over and look at a radar, and I go, oh, that thing's moving quicker. And so, with my day, that means, okay, I've got to get going. I've got to get into work early. Unfortunately, I left early enough to get into all the traffic too. So, a 28-minute drive is almost 2 hours.
You missed your 3 hours at the gym. I'm sorry about that. I know that's hard.
I know. It's rough getting old over here, Joe Farmer. It is rough. Anyway, it's easy to say, that these things are speeding up, but also people are these days relying on, I'm just going to call them generic apps that are on handheld devices without saying any brands or any apps. But, my wife was saying that morning, hey, my app says it's not showing up till 4.
Your wife Jill actually says that to you. She doesn't just ask you directly what's going to be happening.
Oh man, we're sitting next to each other at breakfast. Hey, this thing is not getting here till 4. I'm like, I am right here. Right here. I've got a computer in front of me. I can show you when it's going to get here. So yeah, it's fun. We have fun with that.
I think you've just given the Channel 5 marketing team a new promo idea.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Glenn Zimmerman, you have been predicting weather for 35 plus years in St. Louis and you're chief meteorologist at Fox 2, and we're darn glad you are. And I'm glad you've been my friend for much of that time as well. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to help give us some context. I know I was today years old when I learned about how challenging it is to predict snow because of the different layers in the atmosphere. So I appreciate you taking the time to educate us a little bit, and I look forward to having you on again to talk to you soon.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Better you than me, Glenn.
Yeah, right.
Okay, take care. Have a great rest of your day, Glenn. That's Glenn Zimmerman, Fox 2 chief meteorologist, joining us to give us a little bit of weather insight and context as well. Speaking of insight and context, if you're like a lot of us, and I can say this has been me as well, you've been thinking for a number of years, you know what? I should actually start lifting weights, because every single health expert and everybody out there is saying as we age, we start to lose muscle mass, and that can be challenging for us. And we think about it, and then we don't get around to it, or we try it once or twice and go, I don't know how to do this. I have a solution for you. It's one I'm using in my life right now, and it is working great. It's called 20 Minutes to Fitness. You may have heard about it in the past. You haven't thought about it for a while. It's a fitness studio where you can build strength and bone density, and guess what? You do it in just one 20-minute session a week, and trust me, it works. How is it possible to get fit in 20 minutes a week? 20 Minutes to Fitness is not like other gyms. That's how it's possible. You work out with a personal trainer by your side. They set the equipment. They also make sure you're using proper form, which means that they're encouraging you, they're tracking your performance. You're not just going through the motions and not seeing the results. You train on high-end physical therapy equipment, takes each of your major muscle groups to exhaustion, only takes 2 or 3 minutes per machine to reach this point, and then during your time off in the week, your muscle is rebuilding and growing stronger. You can have not worked out for decades or never even worked out, and you can start and see results. You can be somebody who's exercised your whole life, but it's time for you to get more serious about weight training, and you're going to see results. I highly recommend 20 Minutes to Fitness, located in Chesterfield and Clayton. Check them out online, 20minutestofitness.com. You will be very glad you did. We'll be right back after this.
The University of Missouri St. Louis offers academic programs at the undergraduate, graduate, doctoral, and professional levels to fit any passion, purpose, and schedule. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
It's Julie Buck inviting you to join us for the annual Rusted Chandelier Open House. Come sip and shop and buy all the goodies to deck your halls. at the Rusted Chandelier. They're located in Kirkwood at Manchester and Folger. You do not want to miss this store, especially during the holidays. Absolutely everything to decorate your home and get your cozy on this holiday season at the Rusted Chandelier.
Hey, it's Heidi, and I've only sold 2 houses, but I know how stressful it can be. I also know the team at Lauren Risley Realty makes the entire process as easy as possible. I watched Lauren work with friends and my parents, and I can say she is top notch. She doesn't just know the market, she knows what to look for in a home, and that includes red flags. And through all of it, she is calm, cool, and kind. So if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or if you just have a question, call Lauren Risley Realty, 314-775-0684, or go to laurenrisleyrealty.com.
Is it time to make a change with your bank? Hi, it's Julie Buck for Triad Bank. They are a full-service financial institution with 2 locations, and they've been around since 2005 with a mission to provide a wide range of commercial and personal banking services. Here's their website. It's triadbanking.com.
Stay connected with the Big 550 KTRS, streaming 24/7 online at KTRS.com or on the KTRS app. Powered by JBL Financial. Stream Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Andy from Hats and Stuff. My retirement sale continues, and that means deep discounts on Cardinals, Blues, and many of your favorite NFL teams, and it's going fast.
Almost everything is a fraction of the original price, so get your holiday shopping done as I wrap up 30 years of a fantastic run with Hats and Stuff.
We'll be open this Friday at 10 a.m. with more incredible discounts, perfect for the holidays. Thousands of items at $10 and less. Located in Westport Plaza across from the Drunken Fish and the Kobe Steakhouse and the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays. Hats and Stuff. Good stuff at really great prices.
Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
Yeah, they're on the med, and these medications are used, these GLP-1s, for reducing inflammation in your body. I get so many folks that are like, wow, I don't have the knee pain. I don't have the...
Because once you start losing weight, all these other things naturally happen to you in a positive way. Not just talk about the deals for KTRS listeners at stlmedweightloss.com.
All KTRS listeners, they get $50 to $100 off their first month. And what's beautiful about it, too, hey, I get it. The economy, what we just had, guys, things are difficult right now, but we make the plan work for you. We have financing options. We make this work for you because we realize how important it is to get down in your weight, get your confidence back, and really start feeling like the old you.
Call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
What's your reason for listening to the Big 550?
Hey, it's Stacy from Collinsville. Me and my husband listen every day. Love the news coverage, all the things you guys offer throughout the day. Thank you, KTRS.
Hey, it's Will. I just wanted to let you know we have been listening for the full 29 years, and I would say you guys are the best in the city. Keep it up.
This is where St. Louis comes to talk. Local ownership, live programming, and the most recognizable personalities on St. Louis radio. We are the Big 550 KTRS Louis.
Welcome back, everybody. It's been really fun having Mark Maxwell sitting in for Frank today, and Frank is back tomorrow. We're going to be out at the Our Lady of the Snow Shrine in Belleville. Lots of great things happening. Of course, it's a family tradition, hopefully your family tradition, to go enjoy some time there every single year. We'll be talking about all the great things you can expect when you go to the shrine this year. They have this incredible Legos, hundreds of thousands of pieces used to make this incredible Legos display. We're going to talk to somebody about how that happens. It's going to be a very fun time tomorrow and having Frank back. So normally Thursdays are weekly special days, but we're doing that, Connor, instead on Friday. Maggie O's downtown is going to be the restaurant that we feature. And, of course, our friends at Kuna make our weekly special happen. Mark Maxwell, what are you working on TV that we can tune into over the next few days?
Oh, man, we're just getting back into the swing of things. I was telling listeners at the top of the show a couple hours ago that I'm just getting back into the swing of things. I was off for a full week. It's one of those deals where if you don't take your vacation days, you'll lose them at the end of the year. So I'm kind of rushing to pack them all in here before the year ends. So I've really got to tune back in. It's so nice to just unplug for a few days and just tune out of stuff. Even if I get text or calls, I feel there's a little pang of guilt on that first day. Mm-hmm. And by day 2, I'm like, I'm over it. I'm good. So getting back into the swing of things.
That's really good to hear because I know I tease Frank. He'll be texting me when he's on vacation and talking about what are we going to have on the show. And I said, you're doing a bad job at being on vacation because you do need to gear down. And sometimes my husband has a little trouble with this at times as well. When you're in a high pressure job and your brain's used to kind of being on all the time, as yours is, Mark, it can be hard to sort of shift gears, change the channel, if you will, get into another mode and let your nervous system, your mind, everything kind of recover. But it's important.
And I don't know if you ever did this, but I try to keep fresh eyes. I think one of the biggest downfalls of any reporter can be falling into a rut where you think you're right because you learned something last month and it's still true. And one of the things we always have to do in media and as reporters is keep our eyes open and our minds open to the possibility that the world we encounter tomorrow challenges the one we thought we knew yesterday. And so I like those little moments and breaks because they give me a chance to come back and think, now, wait a minute, why didn't I think of this angle on that story? Or wait, what about this guest? I bet they'd be good. So little breaks, I think, can kind of get you out of that grind and get you can come back, I think, even better.
Very well said. I really like it. And Connor, you took a few days off to be off for the Thanksgiving week. Do you have a pretty easy time just switching gears from work mode to vacation mode?
Mostly, yeah. I think people still will reach out to me, though.
So it's not
maybe
you
it's
that has the
everyone
problem,
else that
right?
doesn't realize I'm not on vacation.
Connor's like, this is not a Connor problem, Jill. This is everyone else problem.
It is playing this. I believe everyone back in the office can hear this. So this is a little note.
Choose your words carefully.
Yeah.
We all know who they are.
And we should not do that. You're exactly right. We should let you be on vacation when you're on vacation. It also speaks to the fact, and not to embarrass you, but you're very knowledgeable and you handle a lot of things. And so I could see where people would be like, I don't know how to solve this problem. Let's call Connor.
So I also don't really mind if I get those texts anyway. But.
It sounds like job security, if you ask me, Connor.
Yeah, I'm very necessary.
Essential worker.
I'm an essential worker.
You are an essential worker for sure, and definitely essential to the Frank and Jill show. We do appreciate you. You've been great today, Mark Maxwell. Thanks so much for joining
it's great
me
to be here,
as
always.
well. And I know many of you are looking forward to getting back in our routine with Frank tomorrow. Join us as we head out to Belleville to Our Lady of the Snows. Stay tuned today. Carney and Buck are coming up next. They are out also on the road at the Marketplace of the Abbey. Heidi Glausch Show. They're going to be on a remote at La Verona at the Marketplace on the Hill. So lots of good things coming up. Keep your dial right here and make it a great day, everybody. You deserve it.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis.